Good afternoon, and welcome to the Don and Lorena Meier Studio ribbon cutting at the College of Journalism and Mass Communications. My name is Hannah Kate Kinney, and I'm a junior studying broadcasting, advertising and public relations, and journalism.
And I'm Chloe Sander. I'm a senior studying broadcasting news. We were the inaugural leaders for Nebraska Nightly, and we'll be emceeing this afternoon's event. This afternoon, we'll hear from several speakers who will share how this beautiful place came to be and how it will support UNL students and the College of Journalism and Mass Communications. First, I'd like to welcome Dr. Sherry Vail, Dean of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications, to offer some opening remarks.
Thank you, Hannah, Kate, and Chloe. In the College of Journalism and Mass Communications, our mission is to nurture curious and creative minds to thrive in the ever-changing media and communication professions. We truly believe in do from day one so that students can get hands-on experience the first moment they come into our college. That experience is rooted in hard work, collaborative problem solving, and the ethical pursuit of truth to uphold our democracy. Don and Lorena Meier knew a little something about hard work. Over the last couple years, I've gotten to know the Meiers through the Meier Foundation Board, and I am proud to say that I think our college embodies the Meiers' tenacity to turn an idea into a dream and into a reality. I can vividly remember first pitching the idea of a new studio to Jim Tim with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association Board in May of 2021. And with the help of the MBA board and the Meier Foundation, look where we are today. This here is a picture of Don Meier. He quite literally swept the studio floors just to be close to the action. Yesterday, one of our student workers, Addie Bickford, spent the afternoon steaming those curtains. All afternoon with the steamer so we can be ready for today. This morning, Henry Shore, I see you back there, Henry, he was vacuuming up here, and we have all spent significant time wiping up construction dust for a very long time. We believe in hard work, and no job is too small if you want to be part of the action. Our vision in the college is to be the national leader in experiential journalism and mass communications education. The Don and Lorena Meier Studio will provide an opportunity for students to gain hands-on learning experience from that first semester they enroll in the college. The studio will allow students to experiment, to play, to fall in love with media, or to find out they are not cut out for it and get out. I'm okay with that option too. But they can do that all while building their professional portfolio with the latest broadcasting production technology. The Don and Lorena Meier Studio will also make learning visible across our college campus and community. It will become a centerpiece of our college. Some of you probably saw that there are some prospective students in the lobby when you were coming in. Our recruiter, Alex Fernando, is currently hosting a Career Connections event for prospective students this afternoon in the agency, which is now located on the 3rd floor of the Lincoln Children's Museum. Visible learning spaces like the new Don and Lorena Meier Studio are essential to sparking the passion of future students and providing them with the opportunity to see who they could be. We want every student to have the opportunity to build their academic skill set and to explore their professional interests. We could not accomplish our mission without the support of the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation, or the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, or our college alumni, faculty, staff, community partners. Thank you. Thank you to the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation. Thank you to the Nebraska Broadcasters Association. Without your generosity, this would not be possible. Thank you to Chancellor Ronnie Green and EVC Ankerson for their continued leadership and support of the college. Thank you to Professor Barney McCoy and Keith Miles, who is the Senior Vice President and General Counsel for the Nebraska Foundation, for your commitment to Don Meier's legacy and the future of the college. Thank you to the many individuals who worked on the construction of this incredible space, including Scott Guthrie from UNL Athletics, UNL Project Manager Corey Ostrander, CoJMC alum Brock Rahm and his team from Beck TV, and the teams from Rogge Construction, IES Electrical, Benz Mechanical, Heartland Scenic, Advanced Engineering Systems, and UNL Information Technology Services. Thank you to Haley Hamill, who has been our construction manager for several years now, to Jamie Wentz, who has spent so many more hours in here than I think some of our students will, already just getting things ready, to Steve Blum for helping us on making all the connections happen, and to the entire technology committee who worked to make this dream a reality. Thank you to the Co-Experience Lab directors, Gemelyn Griffin and Jill Martin, and the Nebraska Nightly faculty liaison, Ken Fisher, for your leadership in the Experience Lab and the opportunities that you make available to our students. And finally, thank you to our students. This is all for you.
Thank you, Dean Vale. We are pleased to be able to share some remarks from Chancellor Ronnie Green, who is unable to be with us today.
One year ago, I attended the ribbon cutting of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications Experience Lab. Today, we're cutting the ribbon on another phenomenal experiential learning space for University of Nebraska-Lincoln students. The Don and Lorena Meier Studio will enable students to work with the latest broadcast production technology as they prepare for a future in media and communications. Congratulations to Dean Vale and the College of Journalism and Mass Communications Administration, faculty, staff, and students on the completed Don and Lorena Meier Studio. And thank you to our generous sponsors, the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation and the Nebraska Broadcasters Association. The construction of this studio and the world-class opportunities it affords our Husker students would not be possible without the support of our outstanding alumni community.
In 2008, Professor Barney McCoy produced a documentary on the Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. During the production, he developed a friendship with Don Meier that lasted until Meier's death in 2019. To honor Don and Lorena, McCoy worked with the Meier Foundation to create a display case in Anderson Hall showcasing Don Meier's Emmy Awards and artifacts from his travels around the world. During the development of the display, Barney shared the college's plan for a new television studio with the foundation board, and they invited Dean Vale to make a pitch to the board. Please welcome Professor Barney McCoy to say a few words.
Wow, look at this. This is pretty amazing. Before I begin tonight, I'd also like to thank Bob Bennett from the board, who couldn't be here with us this evening. He was instrumental in helping to put together the artifacts that are part of the memorial display case down the hallway here. So kudos to Bob. And where did my story begin with Don Meier? It began 16 years ago when myself, Bruce Mitchell, Carol Cornsilk were tasked with producing a documentary about a master of documentary storytelling. That was Don Meier. And the documentary we produced was called Exploring the Wild Kingdom. And I'd also like to single out a good friend of mine and our chief videographer and editor on that project, Bruce Mitchell. Bruce, say hi. So, thank you. So what did we learn from Don Meier? Hell, what didn't we learn from Don Meier? He was a stickler for detail. And he also believed in working really, really hard. And he had high expectations. And his biggest expectation may have been finding joy and having fun and working hard and producing things that are meaningful. And finally, he believed in opening doors for others. That was part of the Meier, how would I call that? The Meier effect. Yeah. So, what is the biggest lesson that our students will learn from having this studio? You know, Don believed that if you're willing to pour everything into working hard and being passionate about your beliefs, that you can truly accomplish great things. And one of the greatest things is being able to accomplish your dreams. And this studio is a great example of accomplishing dreams. So for 24 seasons, Don and his crews worked around the world filming Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. It was an iconic television program. On some Sundays, it would outdraw the NFL game of the week. It was a multi-generational experience that went on for 25 years throughout the 60s and the 70s and the 80s in television lore in this country and around the world. That was part of Don Meier's dream. So, where do we go with this now? What do we take this to? Well, first of all, he had this willingness to be able to experiment. All the corners of the earth, the Arctic, the deserts that they went to and filmed wildlife, required them to come up with film techniques that were novel and unique and first-time techniques. They shared that with people. But that willingness to go out and try new things and not to be afraid to fail, that was part of the Don Meier experience. So we hope that this experience, the Don and Lorena Meier Studio, will provide those same experiential opportunities for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, and most important, keep this in mind. Don believed in opening doors of opportunities for others, and this is it here tonight. Thank you.
The Don and Lorena Meier Studio will be home to two of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications Experience Lab media outlets, Nebraska Nightly and the Nebraska News Service. Students in these programs will use the space to produce news stories that will be shared in print and broadcast throughout the state of Nebraska. Assistant Professor of Practice, Ken Fisher, is the faculty liaison of Nebraska Nightly. Please welcome Professor Fisher.
I just want to say first, Barney, I'm so jealous that you got to do some of the work that you did with Don Meier. When I was a child, like I bet many other people in this room, I had this fantasy that I was going to get to meet Marlon Perkins. So I just want to say that it's a privilege. I've only been here since January, and I really look forward to working with our students and Jamie in this control room and in this studio. But Nebraska Nightly is grateful to the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation and the Nebraska Broadcasters Association for this generous gift that has transformed the second floor of Anderson Hall. The students are eager to use the newsroom control area and separate sets for the newscast and interviews, along with virtual sets for their weekly broadcasts. We're thankful for the opportunity to learn how to use this new cutting-edge technology that supports live broadcast and will also support other productions. Thank you.
The Don Meier Studio would not have been possible without the contributions of the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation. The foundation is led by individuals who strive to carry on the Meier's legacy. Please welcome David Shobe on behalf of the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation.
Thank you. I was sort of hoping that Barney would have covered most of it, but he left it for me. Move the mic down. That's my wife. So what I'm going to do in just a couple of minutes is tell you a little bit about the foundation, and more importantly, tell you a little bit about Don Meier. The Donald and Lorena Meier Foundation is governed by its mission statement, which in part is, quote, to support the funding of organizations and programs that focus on education, animal and wildlife preservation. In that regard, we're happy to participate today in the funding and dedication of the new television studio. But first, let me tell you a few things about Don Meier and the television show he created, known as Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Don Meier was a native of Nebraska, 1941 graduate of the University of Nebraska. And after serving in the Army during World War II, he started his career in television with WBKB-TV, the first television station in Chicago. At that time, believe it or not, there were fewer than 350 television sets in the entire city of Chicago. It was often said by everybody that Don Meier and television grew up together. We like to say they also succeeded together. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, which Don created, produced, and directed, turned out to be the longest-running half-hour show in television history. After Don spent some period of time at WBKB, he moved over to the big shot, to NBC, where his work with a program called Zoo Parade. Everybody remember Zoo Parade? His work on Zoo Parade gave him the opportunity to meet Marlin Perkins, the director of Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo. And their relationship led to the nature and adventure show Wild Kingdom, and to the enormous success and recognition for those two individuals. The show was originally designed to allow people to see wildlife in their natural habitat, rather than in an artificial setting like a zoo. But as society became increasingly concerned about conservation and the environment, Wild Kingdom changed its focus to meet those concerns. And as it was pointed out, the show was an instant success. Don developed, produced, and directed the program, traveling to every location during the first 12 to 15 years. His wife Lori transferred extensively with him in the beginning, but finally it became apparent that somebody had to stay home and run the show here, and she became his chief assistant and administrator of the company. And Lori was affectionately known as the vice president in charge of everything. For those of you who have any interest, here's how the shows were created, and I'll do it quickly. Don would spend 2 to 3 weeks on location. Then he'd come back home and spend 2 to 3 weeks in the office. His goal was to get several shows out of every location. 3 camera teams were out filming shows all the time. The staff would then glean 100 visible ideas from the more than 300 suggestions that were submitted each year, and then narrow the list down to 25, and then 12 topics would be selected for a particular season. Shooting would begin in February or March and run through October. The show won 4 National Emmy Awards, we know about that, from the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, as well as recognition from the National Wildlife Federation and many other conservation and wildlife organizations. Don himself received numerous awards. Don was a business major here at the University of Nebraska who had to work his way through school. As a matter of fact, it took him, I believe, 6 years to complete a 4-year education. His own financial struggles to complete his college education created part of his interest in establishing scholarships to help today's struggling students. Don was often heard to say, and I'll quote, "The first year on the job can teach you more than all your years in college. But it's your years in college that make it possible to get your first job." That is advice from a man who used the preparation that he received at the University of Nebraska to grow and change with new fields. So let me conclude by saying the Donald and Lorena Meier Foundation, in conjunction with the University of Nebraska Foundation, offers an opportunity to carry on the desires of Don and Lori Meier and to create a legacy of which they would be proud. Thank you very much.
Another key supporter of the studio and the College of Journalism and Mass Communications is the Nebraska Broadcasters Association. Not only did the NBA contribute to the success of the project, but they continue to support professional preparation for future broadcasters throughout the state through trainings, workshops, and student scholarships. We are grateful for their support of students, the college, and the future of broadcasting. Please join me in welcoming Jim Tim, Executive Director of the Nebraska Broadcasters Association.
Thank you. It's pretty dangerous to let a broadcaster get in front of a microphone because we may not shut up, but I promise to be brief. First off, congratulations to the students, faculty, administration. This is beyond amazing. And Sherry, I'm so happy for you because I know you were the driver behind this, but it certainly took a lot of people to bring it together. Tremendous gratitude to the Don and Lorena Meier Foundation. Obviously, this would not be possible without your support. So please accept our appreciation as fellow broadcasters for what you've done to bring this to life. This College of Journalism and Mass Communications and the NBA have enjoyed a very long, multi-decade relationship. I won't bore you with the list of things that we've done and continue to do and the new things, ways we find to work together. But we share a common goal, and that's really to enhance student education, make students like you even more employable, and ready to work with the best tools in the industry. So when Sherry contacted me about 18 months ago with this project, we just happened to have a board meeting scheduled, I think a week or two. I don't know if she was reading my calendar or what, but her timing was perfect, and we made our request. And I don't mind telling you, the discussion was pretty short. Our board felt that this was something that we absolutely needed to get behind, and we're very grateful to have been a small part of this. So this upgrades what you do here. And you've always had tremendous faculty, and now you've substantially upgraded your showcase, if you will. And of course, for the students that are already here, you've got better toys to play with, and you'll be better prepared to have a better career because of that. And when it comes to recruitment, what a showplace, right? I mean, for students to walk in here, for the parents to walk in here and look around at all this and see the smiles and the enthusiasm and the encouragement from faculty, there's nowhere to go but higher up. And so that's just wonderful to see. We know broadcast journalism is evolving rapidly, and sometimes it feels like it's out of our control, but I think that's part of what keeps us coming back every day. I'm pleased to see a number of our current and past board members and a lot of employees of our member stations here that are part of this ever-changing world of broadcasting and broadcast journalism. And we work in a state that's known as a starter state for the industry. There are station owners and managers all across Nebraska that do not hesitate to hire students from this college. And some stay for a while, some stay for a long time, but our members take great pride in opening that door for a lot of your first jobs, and we're grateful to continue that partnership. So we couldn't be more proud of what you've created here, and thanks again for the opportunity to be a part of this.
Thank you to each and every one of you for your support of our college and the students. I'm honored to say that the Meier legacy will continue on through students who use the Don and Lorena Meier studio to prepare themselves for a future in media. I'd like to invite Nebraska Nightly students Lance Vi and Jill Lampkins to step forward with the ribbon. I'd like to invite Dean Vale, David Shobe, Jim Tim, Ken Fisher, Barney McCoy, and Haley Hamill to step forward to cut the ribbon.
Ready? I count 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Our CoJMC ambassadors are giving tours at Anderson Hall and the agency space located across the plaza at the Lincoln Children's Museum. Stop by the elevators here on the second floor and ask them for a tour. Also, please head all the way down to the south end of the floor for appetizers. Thank you to the Pepsi Cola of Lincoln for providing the beverages. Stop at the tables along the way to learn about Experience Lab programs from our current student leaders. These students are eager to share about their experiences and show you some of the work they've done. Thank you again for joining us and enjoy the reception.